Within just an hour of arriving in Las Vegas, millions of tourists rushed to book round-trip flights to return home. The city, once a symbol of dreams and light, now makes people just want to leave as soon as possible. What happened? There was a time when Las Vegas was a glittering promise in the desert. A place where the lights never went out, where a single hand of cards could change your life. But today, the neon signs still shine. Only, there's no one left for them to attract. Hotels sit eerily empty. Casinos, once bursting with life, now feel strangely hollow. And instead of the chime of slot machines and blaring electronic music, Las Vegas echoes with the aimless footsteps of the homeless, the unwilling residents of the city that never sleeps. What made the city of dazzling lights become so cold? Is it possible that after nights of sin comes a stark morning, where one is forced to confront reality without any card that can turn the tables? In today's video, join us as we walk through streets that are no longer buzzing with joy to uncover why Las Vegas, once the undying symbol of the American dream, is now quietly hitting rock bottom. And the question we all must ask ourselves is, who would still dare to gamble their future in a place once known as the paradise of forgetting? No one who has ever loved Las Vegas could have prepared for this sight. Rows of slot machines still emitting their usual dazzling lights, but with no one standing in front of them. The familiar sound of dice, the shouts of winning bets, the clinking of glasses in the dead of night, all seem to be swallowed by the eerie silence within the empty casinos. Ironically, the bright neon lights on the signs now only highlight the cold emptiness, like a dazzling stage without any actors. Perhaps no one could have predicted that the absence of a seemingly small group of tourists, Canadians, Europeans, winter snowbirds, would create such a severe domino effect. From the historic Fremont district to the bustling Strip, from high-end convention centers to luxury hotels, Las Vegas is undergoing a silent but painful transformation. From an entertainment paradise, Las Vegas seems to be turning into a land of despair. According to economist Stephen Miller from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, international visitors to the city decreased by 6.5% in 2025, with the 11% drop in June alone compared to the same period last year. That's the first double-digit drop since the pandemic. At Harry Reid International Airport, passenger traffic has declined for 4 consecutive months, while hotels have seen a drop in booking rates among their highest-spending guests, conference attendees and international visitors. But what's confusing isn't just the numbers. A tourist who visited Vegas 25 years ago shared upon returning, Vegas still has its charm, but it's not the same as it used to be. It's too expensive. Many people choose to spend their money elsewhere, and in fact, cheap Vegas is now only a memory for those who lived in the city in the 80s. Ocean One Bar and Grill, an icon of a for everyone Vegas, with $4.99 lunches, closed in 2024. The hotel room was advertised for $99, but after adding all the fees, it easily climbed to $175, with fine print that you had to squint at like a bank loan contract. Resort fee $55, room tax 13.38%, winter pool usage fee even though the pool is closed. All of this has turned the vacation into a gamble for your wallet, where the player is always the loser. Worse still, the area around the casino, once bustling with tourists, is now surrounded by rows of makeshift tents. The homeless, who once worked in these very casinos and hotels, now set up their sleeping quarters right behind the brightly lit advertising wall. The streets that once made people feel welcome now make them hurry, feeling unsafe. Many businesses are concerned that this situation will make middle-class tourists, especially older ones, no longer feel safe returning to Las Vegas. And the consequences are gradually becoming clear. Revenue from gambling, also known as gaming wins, which is the financial backbone of the city, is declining. Hotels and casinos are starting to report declining profits as visitor numbers decrease stays shorten, and guests spend more cautiously. A veteran casino manager admits, Vegas hasn't collapsed yet. But we are clearly seeing the cracks. Those who sought the Vegas dream in 1995 with less than $200 for all 3 days now face a $40 bill for a snack, $10 for a slice of pizza, and $10 for a glass of water. And they left, not necessarily because they lost the bet, but because they felt unwelcome. At least not in this city anymore. However, it was precisely those who remained, for work, for nostalgia, or because they had nowhere else to go, who saw the cracks most clearly, and who were also the most deeply affected. The question here is not just about business. It's about a city that was once built so that everyone, rich or poor, could feel like they were living large, at least for a few days. So if even Las Vegas is gradually losing its soul, is there anywhere else in America that can hold on to the American dream? Over 770,000 Americans experienced homelessness in 2024, the highest level recorded in decades. No longer a localized phenomenon in a few major cities, homelessness is becoming a silent epidemic, spreading from declining industrial areas to even the most bustling tourist destinations. And Las Vegas, once a desert paradise of light, is now one of the hottest spots. Amidst scorching heat exceeding 115 degrees Fahrenheit, makeshift tents made of scrap, fabric, wooden pallets, and plastic tarps stretch across the strip, once a haven for tourists and those dreaming of getting rich overnight. The homelessness crisis is gradually taking over every corner of Las Vegas, replacing tourists and becoming an integral part of the urban landscape that is on the brink of decline. In 2025, nearly 8,000 homeless people are estimated to live in Clark County, according to a report by the Southern Nevada Homeless Continuum of Care. No longer just gathering in public parks or under overpasses, urban encampments are springing up right next to hotel entrances, restaurants, and even in front of famous casinos. This presence not only diminishes the inherent appeal of the surrounding environment, but also alters the experience of even long-time visitors. A man in his 60s who visited Vegas in 1995 returned and said, "There's still light, there's still music, but it doesn't feel as welcoming as it used to. Everything became cold and a bit scary." And on the other hand, something that was once considered utopian is the fact that homeless people have begun to appear inside casinos. It wasn't to try my luck, but to find a little coolness from the air conditioning, a little light, and the feeling of being like a normal person. But as that image became popular, many large hotels and casinos were forced to tighten security, inadvertently turning places that were once open to everyone into stuffy and restrictive environments. But deeper down, there's a completely different world, and it's almost invisible to the rest of the city. Approximately 1,200 to 1,500 people are living in the drainage tunnel system beneath the strip, just a few feet below glamorous casinos like Caesars Palace. Originally designed for rainwater drainage, these tunnels have become a refuge for a forgotten community, where darkness is a companion and the noise above is a bitter reminder of a world that has abandoned them. Some people have lived there for 5 to 13 years, avoiding sunlight, discrimination, and even hope. A woman in her 50s who used to work as a housekeeper shared, "At least here, no one kicks me out. Up there, they don't consider me part of the community." Amidst one of America's most vibrant cities, there exists a class living in absolute darkness. If Las Vegas, where the lights never go out, isn't warm enough to shelter those left behind, then is there anywhere else in this country that can be called a haven? Looking down at Las Vegas at night from above, the lights still sparkle like a diamond in the desert. But if we look closer, not through the lens of a camera, but with our own eyes, we will see. It is those very lights that are reflecting the precariousness of a city that has become too expensive to be called livable. Many people still believe that Las Vegas is a savings paradise, a beautiful place for both residents and gamblers. But in 2025, to maintain a basic standard of living in Vegas, a single person will need approximately $2,985 to $3,063 per month, including housing, food, transportation, healthcare, utilities, and entertainment. For a family of 4, monthly living expenses can reach $5,427, not including rent. And not everyone wins big in Vegas. The average rent is up to $1,635 per month, while home prices have surpassed $544,000. Electricity and water are nearly $260 per month, and gas prices fluctuate around $3.80 per gallon. Even simple necessities like a gallon of milk are nearly $5. A loaf of bread is over $4, and a dozen eggs, once a symbol of a common breakfast, can now reach $4. For tourists, a week-long vacation in Las Vegas is no longer an easy dream. The average cost is about $2,583 per person per week, including hotel and meals, which is nearly equal to a month's salary for many unskilled workers in other states. And in that city, those who once believed they were building a future now have to count every penny for a loaf of bread, or weigh the choice between buying gas and buying blood pressure medication. A retired couple from Colorado shared that they had planned to move to Vegas because of the reasonable cost, but after calculating, they chose to stay in their hometown. Big win for them now simply means having enough to live on and pay rent each month without needing help from their children. In that context, more and more people are choosing to live minimally, turning to solutions for financial self-protection and mental health. Many independent channels and social organizations are encouraging middle-aged people to use EverSafe, a personal finance tracking tool that helps seniors manage their spending, protect their accounts from fraud, and receive alerts for unusual expenses. With a simple button press, EverSafe can be a silent shield in a city where everything, including trust, has a price. So, if even Las Vegas, which once promised a luxurious dream for all classes, is becoming inaccessible to the average worker, where else in America still holds that promise? Las Vegas was once the place where the lights never went out, but the light that has been most frequently turned on recently no longer comes from the dazzling neon signs, but from the security lighting system, signaling something is changing. In 2025, the streets around the Strip, once bustling with tourists, are now deserted after 9 p.m. It's not because the city sleeps, but because many people no longer feel comfortable walking around at night like they used to. According to statistics from Clark County, the rate of public disturbance incidents and street conflicts has increased by approximately 14% compared to the same period last year, particularly in areas near tourist centers. A retired former security guard who worked for over 20 years at a major hotel shared, "I used to believe Vegas was a place where anyone could live out a few days of dreams, but now, looking at the familiar streets, I only feel a sense of fear." It cannot be denied that the social consequences of the pandemic, along with recent economic fluctuations, have made the situation unpredictable. A series of residents found themselves in an unstable situation, while many foreign tourists began to question the safety, not just financial, but also emotional, of choosing Vegas as a destination. A report from a travel company shows that last-minute cancellations at some hotels on the Strip increased by 18% in the second quarter of 2025, partly due to concerns about the surrounding environment. People who have been returning to Las Vegas annually are starting to shift toward quieter cities, where they feel they can breathe without being wary of surprises. This change didn't come from a single event. It's like every small drop of water accumulates into a stream, and every gentle breeze gradually blows away the flame of faith. Some elderly people who still linger in this city say that what hurts them most is not the loss of the bustling atmosphere, but the feeling of no longer belonging to the place they once knew best. If a city once born for dreaming and relaxation now makes people feel wary, what is truly changing within America? There's a paradox happening right in the middle of Las Vegas. The city once prided itself on creating hundreds of thousands of jobs each year, from service staff and tour guides to stage engineers and lighting technicians. But in 2025, right here, every stage light is fading, carrying with it the once brilliant career dreams. As of mid-2025, Las Vegas recorded an unemployment rate of 6.2%, 2 percentage points higher than the national average, according to data from the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics. In the hospitality and service industry, this figure is even higher, with many hotels and resorts forced to cut staff after international tourist and conference visitor numbers continued to decline. A generation was once promised that if they worked hard, they would never go hungry. Now, they watch as hotel operations are scaled back, performances are cancelled, and stages close with no return date in sight. It's even more striking that many people who once had stable salaries, insurance, and even bought homes thanks to their work in the entertainment industry now have to rely on friends, family, or live in temporary housing. The diplomas in tourism, restaurant, and hotel management hanging in the living room are now just souvenirs of a time when diligence still had value. If an entire city was built on the promise of opportunity, and now the very people who keep it running have no place in it, where did we go wrong? And who will step up to correct the mistakes before the next generation also falls into the same repeating cycle? There was one thing that used to make Las Vegas different. It was a city where working class people could still feel rich. Not in terms of wealth, but in the feeling of enjoyment. A lunch buffet after a shift, a free show, a weekend night with a few coins in the slot machines. All were once small rewards for the people who quietly keep the city's lifeblood flowing. But in recent years, something has broken. Not suddenly, but silently. Like a flickering lamp before it goes out, completely. Income hasn't increased, but the cost of living has quietly escalated, from healthcare and car insurance to phone, internet, and even seemingly insignificant expenses like school supplies for children. For many, survival now requires calculation skills that are no different from gambling. Not a few middle-aged people in Las Vegas have had to give up options that were once considered minimum for the middle class, like owning a new car every 5 to 7 years, and also participate in life insurance, or simply take the whole family to see a local entertainment show during the holidays. Now, those things are only left in memory, or as LED billboard advertisements along the highway. The middle class, which serves as a bridge between the rich and the poor, is shrinking both literally and figuratively. According to a survey by the Pew Research Center, the percentage of Americans who identify as middle class has decreased by over 10 percentage points in the past 2 decades, and Las Vegas is one of the cities that has seen the fastest rate of change. In a context where stable jobs like event organizers, lighting technicians, or administrative assistants are being automated or outsourced, many people are falling into a state of limbo, not poor enough to receive support, but also not rich enough to weather the crisis. If an entire generation that once built a stable America is now struggling with every bill, will there be anyone left to pass on to the next generation the belief that hard work will be rewarded? There was a time when just hearing the words Las Vegas conjured up an entire paradise of light. A place where anyone, rich or poor, could come, try their luck, and live out a miniature American dream. A city built not just of concrete, but of a desire to rise, faith in opportunity, and the illusion that if you dare to play, dare to dream, you will win. But by 2025, Las Vegas is no longer the glittering postcard representing that dream. It has become a cruel reminder. When the neon lights still glow brightly on the casino facade, but behind them are empty meeting rooms. When the billboard still advertises a lifetime vacation, but is right next to the temporary shelters of the homeless. When the dream of winning the lottery was replaced by reality. Just having enough money to pay this month's electricity bill is already a big win. The so-called American dream, once depicted by a small house, a stable job, and a bright future for children, seems to be crumbling right in the place that once made it shine the brightest. Vegas is no longer a place where anything is possible, but rather where all boundaries are blurred. Between tourists and the homeless, between rich and poor, between dream and reality. The story of Vegas isn't just about the city. It's a mirror reflecting an America looking back at itself, wondering, what went wrong? Is it because we're so busy expanding the avenues that we've forgotten the small alleys of the human heart? Is it because we believe that technology, investment and growth indicators would be enough to replace intangible things like community, cohesion, and hope? At a time when many people are having to tighten their belts, minimalist and balanced living solutions are more valuable than ever. Discover the Better Living Box, a service that supports seniors in living healthy, organised and economically, with essential monthly products ranging from dietary supplements to eco-friendly items. Link in the description. If even Las Vegas, once a symbol of aspiration, freedom and joy, can no longer hold on to itself, is there any place strong enough to evoke the American dream as we once knew it? Las Vegas has never been an ordinary city. It's always ahead of the rest, both in dreams and in crises. As the economy boomed, Vegas was a place where money flowed like water through a roulette wheel. But when instability erupted, this city was also the first to feel the fall, deeply and clearly. Today, people don't just go to Vegas for entertainment, but also to observe. Because if you want to know what's happening in the heart of America, you probably don't need a congressional hearing room. Just take a walk around the Strip, past the temporary camps, listen to the clatter of old air conditioners from cheap motels, and look into the eyes of those selling themselves for every penny. Economic experts warn, what's happening in Las Vegas could be a blueprint for other cities, from Orlando to Atlantic City, from Reno to San Diego, that also rely on tourism, services, and a fragile hope for middle-class stability. In Vegas, when a class collapses, no one steps up to support it. Local residents say they've seen too many friends lose their homes, too many businesses close, and too many children grow up in the shadow of casino lights. So now, they're no longer surprised. Of course, there are still recovery efforts, local funds, churches, community programs. But human strength is limited, while the waves are too strong. What Las Vegas is experiencing is not just an industry crisis, but the breakdown of an entire model, where faith in self-reliance is no longer enough to pull someone out of the abyss. Is Las Vegas just an exception, or a microcosm of an America standing at the crossroads of hope, nostalgia, and a reality that is cracking day by day? Las Vegas hasn't collapsed yet. The lights were still on, and the signs blinked all night as if crisis was unknown. But if you look closer, you'll see cracks spreading every place. From the luxurious lobby to the underground tunnels, from the rich nostalgia of the 90s to the canvas tents lining the avenue. No one said Vegas is all of America, but precisely because it isn't, it reveals something even more frightening. If a city that was once a symbol of prosperity, of the dream of living big and living fast, can also slide into crisis, then where is immune? Are we witnessing a single crisis, or is this the earliest warning? about an America that is gradually losing its soul, right where it was once considered the heart of dreams. Please leave your comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue to tell stories that not everyone is willing to listen to, but everyone needs to know. Each share is an opportunity to add one more person who understands, one more person who cares, and one more ray of hope for those whose lives are lived in silence. This video is not intended to condemn any organization, individual, or political group. All information presented is based on publicly available data, official reports, and field observations from multiple perspectives. The stories, images, and perspectives presented are educational in nature, reflecting social realities to stimulate constructive discussion without creating incitement, panic, or generalizations. We do not condone any illegal behavior, normalize suffering, or turn human misery into entertainment. This is not a conclusion, but an invitation to reflect together, to dialogue together, and to hold on to the remaining humanity within each of us.